Good morning, students. Today we'll have to discuss the new chapter of the first unit of +2 classes, that is the reproductive health. So firstly we'll have to discuss what do you mean by health. Is it only physical fitness? According to World Health Organization, the reproductive health or the health is the physical, emotional, social and behavioral aspect in reproduction. If all these things are well, so we can say that the reproductive health is the total well-being of the physical, emotional, social and behavioral aspect of reproduction. So it is very much essential that a person who is physically fit, emotionally fit, socially fit, behavioral fit, then we can say that they are reproductively healthy person. Otherwise, we can't say that they are healthy. Of course, reproduction may be continued, maybe take place in absence of the one or two of that particular aspects. But if we can say that they are healthy, then all the aspects should be well. Why to study this particular reproductive health? What is the need to study? This is the main problem, is the population growth. We know that in world, most of the countries, populations are just not addition but the multiplication will be there. And the crop production land area is fixed, even minimized due to urbanization, due to factory establishment, due to others. So it is very much essential that the population should be controlled. So mainly we will have to emphasize here in this particular chapter how to control the population. What do you mean by birth control? And second problem is the reproductive abuse, sexual abuse. That is also a type of crime. How to minimize that particular crime? What is the cause of the crime? So firstly we will have to discuss that the problems and the strategy of the reproductive health. What are the problems? The first problem of the reproductive health is the overpopulation. This is the overpopulation. It has been seen that the world is divided into three different categories. One, that is developed country. Second, that is developing country. And third, which is poorly developed. So this is the major problems in the developing and the poorly developed countries. And there the population growth is many more times. So how to control the population? What is the cause of the overpopulation? The second problem is the early marriage. You know that the puberty will be gained by the male and the female at the 11 to 13 years old. And it means that person which is not physically fit for the reproduction but can reproduce. In that condition, the multiplication will be very fast. And that particular kid which will be married in that earliest age, they do not know how to control the birth also. So this is one of the problem of the early reproductive health. Whenever the marriage is very much early, in the age of the 12, in the age of 13, especially in the female, then what happens? And suppose they are pregnant, then what happens? Then that their body is not fit fit for that particular reproductions, then what happens? The health of the mother is very much weak, and they will have to depend upon the different doctors and medicines. One of the problem is the mother mortality rate and infant mortality rate. If the pregnancy is sustained by the female in an early age, then what happens? They are not in condition to maintain that particular baby inside the womb. Secondly, it has been observed in very much many more times that the gap between two kids is very low, very few months. Then in this condition, what happens? The mother is very much weak. So the mother mortality rate is very much common. And in that conditions, the infant is produced in the weak condition, in the poor conditions, so infant mortality rate is also. STD, that is a sexually transmitting disease, is one of the problematic tasks in our society. The person don't know how to control this particular STD. And the polygamy is the main cause of the STD. If a person is monogamous, then there is a least chance of the STD. But if the person is polygamous, then there is a chance of the STDs. So the proper education, proper knowledge to check the spreading of the STD should be there. And it is one of the major tasks for the ladies, the career of the lady. It is one of the problematic tasks because that particular female is married in the earliest stage. They are involved in production of their child, their education is hampered, their other knowledge will be hampered, then what happens? They become a homemaker. They can't continue their life in proper way. So there are some strategies regarding this particular problems. Firstly, family planning. Family planning. It means how many kids we have need. If we are two, one husband, one wife, then they have need of the two kids. There may be two male, two female, or one male, one female. Of course, one male, one female is better. But it is not bad that both are male or both are female. So the family planning should be there. But how it is possible if the person is literate? They know how to control the birth. Because courtship is very much common things after marriage, and if the courtship will be there, then what happens? The pregnancy is also common thing. And after pregnancy, the birth will be there. So we will have to know what are the birth control. We will discuss later on how birth control is possible. So the family planning is one of the strategy for the overpopulation. Awareness about reproduction. How this particular birth will be controlled, and when the next baby should be there or the first baby should be there. That will be studied under this awareness of the reproduction and sex education. Both awareness of the reproduction and sex education. Awareness of the reproduction means when we have need of the kid. Suppose a early marriage couple is completely unemployed. They are not in condition to give the proper education of their own offsprings, and they will produce their offsprings. Then what happens? The illiteracy, the poverty, and others will be increased. So we must have aware about the reproduction. And because of that, government has established that particular sex education from the very early 10th class. So sex education is very much essential. Now, it has been observed that when a male and female is just in puberty, then what happens? There is a great change in their body. A great hormonal secreting changes, hormonal secretions will change and causes different type of the changes in the body shape, the body parts, and that will be take place mainly in the adolescence. So we must have a knowledge about the growth of the reproductive organs, the enlargement of the penis, the enlargement of the vulva, the enlargement of the mammary glands, the appearance of the mustache in male. So many changes will be there, and we must have a knowledge about the what type of changes is very much common in each and every male and female. Birth control device we will discuss later on. Prevention of sex abuse and crime, just we have told you that it is very much essential component, essential strategies to check the reproductive health also, to maintain the reproductive health also. So we must have a knowledge that sex abuse and the crime should be prevented, and our government must have take a proper action against this particular. And nowadays we have seen that the Supreme Court and the High Court have given a decision that this type of crime should be prevented. Amniocentesis, it is one of the technique by which we can come in conclusion that the baby which is growing inside the womb of the female mother is healthy or not. We know that the baby is floating inside the womb in an amniotic fluid, and if we can check the amniotic fluid before birth of the baby, in the early stage of the baby, then with the particular technique we can come in conclusion that the growing baby is healthy or not. But there is a drawback of this particular technique also, that we can come in conclusion also that the growing baby is either male or female. And this technique is misused by the society in female feticides. It has been observed also. But it is a very good technique to know that the kid which is growing, the baby which is growing inside the womb of the female is healthy or not, with the help of the chromosome study. Medical facilities, proper medical facilities should be there, because we know that the mother who is pregnant, just going to give birth, they have need of this special diet, just like in form of the calcium, in the form of the iron, in the form of folic acid, in the form of other hormones if they have need. It is very much essential. So we must have a proper supply of the medicines. So it is also one of the studies to be the healthy in case of the reproduction of adults. Now, the population growth is dependent upon the certain points we will have to discuss here. Here, one, that is nativity. Nativity means birth rate, either per month, either per year, either per week, in a particular area, in particular district, in particular state, in particular country, in world, whatever. If we will have to calculate the population growth of India, Then firstly we must know that how many kids has been produced in this particular year, and what is the death rate. That may be by natural death or death by the medicine, death due to any disease, death due to accident, or any cause. That is the mortality rate. And one thing that is called migration. We know that due to high technical devices, it is very much essential, very much a common thing to migrate one person to another person from one place to another place. There may be permanent migration or the temporary migration. Migration may be due to certain cause, certain work, and ultimately return back, or they come here and ultimately establish themselves. So on the basis of this migration, one who will come here, it is called immigration, and one who go from this place, that is called immigration. So both immigration and immigration. So suppose natality plus immigration minus mortality plus immigration, then we can say that it is the population growth rate. Secondly, the population growth rate is also depend upon the age sex ratio. Age sex ratio. Firstly, the sex ratio. Suppose the male and female ratio is equal. If male is greater than female and the male is lesser than female, this is the best condition for the growth rate. If the male and female both are equal, then the growth rate is up to mark, and this both will influence the growth rate. That will not natural. Thirdly, the age ratio. Suppose this one is the old age, this is the reproductive age, and this one is the juvenile age. The second case, suppose this one is the old age, this is the reproductive age, and this is the juvenile age. In this condition, the rate of growth is very fast, very rapid. And in this condition, the rate of growth is low. So this also influences, the age also influences that what type of growth rate will be there. Now, in next point, we will have to discuss what do you mean by birth control and how we can control the birth. The first thing, that is the natural method of the birth control. And the first is the periodic absence. Just in the previous chapter, we have discussed that there is a lunar cycle, there is a reproductive cycle in a female, and in a particular day of that particular menstrual cycle, only female can conceive. If that particular conceiving period of the lunar month will be avoided of the courtship, then automatically the birth will be controlled. It is the periodic absence. Up to 28 days, only few days on which the ova is present in the fallopian tube. And before that particular ovulation and after that particular death of the ova, if the courtship will be there is no chance of pregnancy, there is no chance of the conceiving. So this is the one of the periodic absence. In this particular process, we can control the birth rate. Secondly, coitus interruptus. Just we know that whenever the sperm will be ejaculated in the vagina of the female, then the vagina and the uterus start to contract by the action of the hormone, and sperm will start to move towards the fallopian tube. But if at the peak time of the courtship, the ejection will not take place inside the vagina but outside the vagina, outside the female body, then the birth will be controlled. It is one of the cause. Third one, suppose a female give a birth to the baby and they are lactating. Just we have discussed that in the few months of the early months of the lactation period, what happens? The FSH secretion will be stopped. And if FSH is not being secreted, then what happens? The growth and maturity of the Graafian follicle will not take place. And if that will not take place, then what happens? The endometrial lining is also very thin. The ovulation will not take place. Then there is no chance of the fertilization, and that is one of the safest period for the courtship. So it is called lactational media. This three is the natural method, and without any utilization of any contraceptives, a couple can enjoy. Secondly, that is called Bayesian method. Bayesian method means adoption of the particular equipment in between the sperm and the ova to check the contact with the sperm to the ova. Courtship will be there, the ejection will be there inside the female body, but if there is a barrier which will not in condition to allow that particular sperm to come in contact with the ova in the fallopian tube, then it is called Bayesian method. And condom is a elastic shaped balloon like structure, and that is used by the male during courtship. In addition to that, diaphragm and cervix and the valves are also the barrier which is fixed inside the female body, female reproductive part, by the experts, and ultimately they check the entry of the female, they check the entry of the sperm towards the fallopian tube. Secondly, that is chemical method. It has been observed that the certain sponges or the cream are used as a spermicides. So before ejaculation, these particular spermicides are also used. And whenever the sperm will be ejected out in the form of semen, this spermicide is enough to kill it. Third, that is called intrauterine device. It is one of the very much utilized by the society in our society. This particular device are very much used, abundantly used, and that is mainly established inside the body of the female by the expert doctor or the expert nurse, etc. That is called intrauterine device. It may be non-medicated intrauterine device, that is called lips loop. That may be copper releasing device, that is called copper releasing IUD, that is either copper T or the copper 7. That may be hormone releasing intrauterine device. We will discuss it later on in detail because it is one of the important part of this chapter. It has been observed the maximum time questions will be come from this part of. So we will discuss in detail in this particular intrauterine device and others also. Oral contraceptive is also very much common, and that is also used by the female in form of the pills. Saheli is one of the very much common contraceptive that will be used by the female in the periodic uptake during the lunar month, and that is also helpful in the control the birth. And last, that is called subcutaneous implantation. Certain hormone releasing needle-like structures will be established inside the cuticle of the female, and they are not in condition to, they are not allowed that sperm to come in contact with the ova. So how it is possible, we will discuss it in next.